Good morning. I want to talk today about following and submission. My last video I talked about divine masculine leadership, the divine patriarchy. And I'm still on that subject because someone asked me, well, how do I follow? What does it mean to follow? And I did not have an answer at that time. So I've been thinking about it. And I've been thinking about in the Bible, when it talks about submission, when it talks about a wife submitting to her husband, the husband submitting to God, and the husband loving the wife, loving his family as Jesus loved the people. And I realized that the submission that I do is the same. The following that I do is the same, which I think is why it speaks of it in that way in the Bible. And so why should a woman submit to a man? Why should a man submit to God? When I think of submission, when I think of myself submitting, I think of intuition. Sometimes when I meditate or I pray, the right action, God's plan rises to the surface. And when this happens, you have two choices. You can resist it and try to control and hold on and say, no, but that doesn't fit my plan, or how can I fit this into my plan? This is what I was going to do today. I'm not going to do that. Sounds good, but I'm going to resist. And the other is to accept and have faith and submit. Say, I'm just going to do it. And similarly, after this event, whether it was you deciding based on a plan or you following intuition or something external to you happening, again, you can resist or you can accept. You can second guess and say, but that wasn't the best plan, or that wasn't according to plan, or I think I could have done better, or I should have done better, or that person should have done better, or hey, that's what happened. Here we are. Nobody's perfect. This world isn't perfect. Even when God acts in this world, it's not ever perfect in the moment. The unfolding is the process, is it's life, and we never know. We never know what lies ahead or which decision was actually best. We can't know. God could know. God knows everything. Sometimes God leads us. And so for me as a man, or internally, to go with the internal energies, a person's divine masculine must submit to God. Because no masculine can know everything. No masculine can plan everything. And the more you try to control, the less you hear God. The less you hear your intuition. And as you have to choose. You choose to live your life being led by God's plan, or to try to control everything. To let go and flow and plan within the scope of accepting the present, of accepting events, of accepting God's plan, or more control. And the bottom line is that none of us have the ability to do a a perfect job of controlling. It's like a law of the universe. Like trying to grasp water with your fingers. The tighter you hold it, the more it slips through. So it's not strategic for any of us to over control. And what that means is surrendering, accepting what happens. Decisions, events, your decision, someone else's decision, acceptance. That is submission. I accept what has happened. Someone decided, something happened. I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to try to control it or second guess it. I'm just going to try to accept it, submit to the present, submit to reality, and say, okay, this is where I am. And within that context, maybe I can lead myself somewhere from here. And the same, for the feminine and the masculine, it's just the chain of leadership. God shows the paths. God may talk to us through meditation, through prayer, through intuition, and say, take this path. And then it is the masculine that leads up on the path, and the feminine and the child and others follow. And again, this can be internally, or it could be in a interpersonal dynamic. But that is this natural order. Just like there's in every human organization, there is leadership. There's almost always a leader and a hierarchy. Sometimes these are mixed. Nothing is black and white. Nothing is rigid. But, you look at, for instance, a corporation. There's a CEO, a chief executive, the top decision maker, single point of decision. This is really important day to day, because day to day, action and decisiveness are what moves, what progresses. And you can't decide and have clarity effectively, consistently in a committee. On the other hand, the CEO is not actually the top authority. The CEO is appointed to make day-to-day decisions, to take the organization down a pre-approved path. But that CEO is appointed and fired, if necessary, by the board. The board holds the ultimate power, but they cannot exercise it day to day. This is very similar to how I see my new understanding of the biblical family. The wife and the husband and the Holy Spirit are on the board. And they can appoint or fire the husband as the leader, or maybe the wife is the leader, someone to embody the masculine leadership energy, right? And in the traditional model, it would be the husband, which makes sense from all sorts of angles, from evolution, from psychology, so on. Again, not to stay rigid. If you have a different style of relationship or something, you do you follow your path. But what am I embodying? What is my understanding? My understanding and what feels right for me, where God is leading me, my intuition, is more or less what it says in the Bible in Ephesians. And as I'm looking for a wife for myself, this is the frame that I will hold. And I will say, if you are not comfortable appointing me as the leader, again, with quarterly reviews and so on, you can fire me. But if you're not comfortable following me, then you can go follow someone else. You can walk a different path. Um, but I am embodying the leadership in my life. For the first time in my life, I am comfortable doing this. And the reason I'm comfortable doing this is because I submit. If I thought I knew everything and could make a perfect plan, then I would not submit. But I know that I don't. And I know that if the masculine tries to plan and control everything, he will fall apart. And this is true of a husband and wife dynamic, and it's true internally. If your divine masculine tries to control and plan everything, it will fall apart. And that will create a whole chain reaction of imbalances inside you. And, so wives or feminines who are, to my future wife, why should you submit to me? It's because I submit to God. And because I submit to the board. I realize that my position is that of a servant. The leader emerges from consent, from people choosing to walk the path that the leader is walking down. And the leader has a responsibility to serve all of the people following. To, if necessary, sacrifice for them. And so, I have the confidence and the alignment to lead, not because my ego thinks that I know best, or because I am so skilled or so talented or so on, but because I surrender in faith. I know that my reason and decisions will be wrong sometimes. I know that I cannot lead perfectly. And I have moved beyond this into the place of surrendering in faith to the divine. And if I'm wrong, I will admit it humbly. And if there's a board meeting or I hear from a follower, whether it's my inner child or my wife or whoever, hey, I want to go over there. Let's go over there. It's my role to lead over there. Assuming it's not dangerous or something, right? Which again is my role. If I say, there's alligators over there, that's my decision, right? To protect and decide when something is safe, when we can go over there, or when we have to keep going the other way. And this internally, having this internal hierarchy, the divine patriarchy, at the top is God. It is not the man. And that is critical to the whole system. The strategic outcomes, the trust, the why, who put you there. It's really about letting go, about not controlling, and about having compassion for the imperfection of this world and all the people in it. So I submit to God's plan. I submit to my intuition. And my feminine submits to my masculine. And one day, God willing, I hope my wife submits to me and holds me accountable to submit to God. And is a powerful, decisive, caring member, balanced member of the board. Thank you for listening. I love you all.